Before humans ventured into space, we sent animals, creatures of resilience and unknowing courage, to test the unknown. These animal astronauts, from insects to primates, were the first to face the dangers of space, answering the crucial question, could life survive beyond Earth? Their missions provided the biological data that made human spaceflight possible. Without their contributions, the journeys of Gagarin, Armstrong, and every astronaut since would not have happened. These creatures, often without a choice, stood at the spearhead of human ambition. Their legacy is woven into every rocket launch and every step on the moon. Today, we remember these unsung heroes who paved our way to the stars. Our journey begins with the humble fruit fly, the first earthling in space. In 1947, American scientists launched fruit flies aboard a captured V-2 rocket to study the effects of cosmic radiation. These tiny insects, chosen for their genetic similarities to humans and rapid life cycles, were perfect test subjects. The rocket soared past the Kármán line, exposing the flies to the harsh environment of space. After a brief flight, the capsule parachuted back to Earth and the flies were recovered alive. Their survival proved that life could endure the rigors of space and cosmic radiation. This single experiment reassured scientists that space travel was possible for living beings. The fruit fly's quiet success laid the foundation for all future biological missions. Though uncelebrated, they were the first to cross the threshold into the cosmos. Their journey opened the door for every animal and human that followed. After the remarkable success with fruit flies, scientists set their sights on a new frontier: primates. These animals, with their complex brains and physiology, were much closer to humans, making them ideal candidates for the next phase of space exploration. Thus began the Albert Project, a bold initiative to send rhesus macaques into space. The goal was to understand how mammals, especially those similar to humans, would respond to the extreme conditions of flight beyond Earth's atmosphere. In June 1949, Albert II was launched aboard a V-2 rocket, reaching an altitude of 83 miles, crossing the boundary of space. During his brief journey, he experienced weightlessness and transmitted vital physiological data back to Earth, offering scientists their first real-time look at a primate's response to spaceflight. Albert II's body endured the intense stresses of launch, the silence of microgravity, and the return to Earth's atmosphere. His survival during the flight proved that primates could withstand the rigors of space travel, a crucial step toward sending humans. Tragically, a parachute failure during descent led to a fatal crash, ending Albert II's life just moments before recovery. Despite this heartbreaking loss, the mission marked a turning point. It demonstrated that a primate's body could survive the journey to space and back, guiding engineers to improve spacecraft safety and design for future missions. The data collected from Albert II's flight provided the first real glimpse into how humans might fare in the harsh environment of space, shaping the course of human spaceflight. Every launch in those early days was a leap into the unknown, with the lives of both animals and eventually humans hanging in the balance. The stakes were unimaginably high. The missions of Albert II and his fellow primates, though often ending in tragedy, yielded invaluable data. Their sacrifices made it possible to develop safer protocols and technologies for human astronauts. Albert II holds a unique place in history as the first primate in space, a true pioneer whose journey paved the way for all who followed. His legacy is a poignant blend of triumph and tragedy, a powerful reminder of the risks and sacrifices behind every scientific advance. The path to the stars was paved with courage, sacrifice, and the hope that one day, humanity would follow where Albert II first ventured. The space race escalated in the 1950s, as the United States and the Soviet Union competed fiercely for dominance in space exploration. The Soviets, determined to make history, set their sights on sending the first living creature into orbit, a feat that would capture the world's imagination and demonstrate their technological prowess. Their chosen pioneer was Laika, a stray dog found wandering the cold streets of Moscow. She was selected not just for her resilience, but also because stray dogs were thought to be tough and adaptable to harsh conditions. Laika underwent intense training, including confinement in small spaces and exposure to loud noises and vibrations. She was chosen for her calm temperament, small size, and ability to handle stress, qualities essential for surviving the unknowns of space. Sputnik 2, her spacecraft, was built in just 4 frantic weeks. It was a marvel of engineering for its time, but it had no re-entry system. Laika's mission was always intended to be one way, a sacrifice for science. On November 3, 1957, Laika made history as the first living being to orbit Earth. Her launch was watched by millions, and her journey became a symbol of Soviet achievement. Her vital signs were monitored closely as she circled the globe, providing scientists with invaluable data. Laika proved that life could survive the violence of launch and the weightlessness of orbit, opening the door for future missions. The world celebrated her as a symbol of progress and courage, but behind the headlines the reality was far more somber. Within hours of launch, a malfunctioning thermal system caused the cabin temperature to soar, leading to fatal overheating. Laika's life ended in stress and heat, far sooner than the public was told at the time. Laika died from heat and stress, her tiny spacecraft continuing to orbit the Earth for months before finally burning up on re-entry, her sacrifice hidden behind official reports for years. Her mission sparked a global debate about the ethics of animal research and the moral cost of scientific progress. Protests and discussions erupted worldwide, questioning whether such sacrifices were justified. Yet Laika's journey provided crucial data that paved the way for human spaceflight. The lessons learned from her mission directly influenced the safety and design of future spacecraft. She was the first to see Earth as a blue sphere, the first to witness sunrise from the silence of orbit, a perspective no living creature had ever experienced before. Her story is both a triumph and a tragedy. A small, unassuming dog who gave her life for humanity's leap into the cosmos, forever remembered as a pioneer. Laika's sacrifice remains a poignant reminder of the cost of progress, and her memory is honored by monuments and tributes around the world. Her legacy endures in every step we take beyond our world, inspiring generations to reach for the stars while remembering the price paid by those who came before. After Laika's tragic one-way journey, the Soviets faced a new challenge, proving that a living creature could survive a round trip to space and return safely to Earth. The world was watching, and the stakes had never been higher. In August 1960, 2 small dogs, Belka and Strelka, were chosen for this historic mission. Alongside them traveled a menagerie of animals, including mice, rats, and even plants, all packed aboard the Korabl Sputnik 2 spacecraft. The mission was meticulously planned, with every detail scrutinized to ensure the animals' survival. For the first time ever, live images of animals in space were broadcast to Earth, captivating audiences and scientists alike. The world watched in awe as Belka and Strelka floated weightlessly, their every move monitored from afar. The dogs orbited the planet 18 times, spending over 24 hours in the harsh environment of space. Soviet scientists anxiously monitored their health and behavior, gathering invaluable data on the effects of space travel on living beings. During the mission, a moment of distress in the capsule alarmed the ground crew. This tense episode convinced Soviet officials to limit the first human spaceflight to a single orbit, prioritizing safety above all else. After a suspenseful re-entry, the capsule parachuted safely back to Earth. Belka and Strelka emerged healthy and alert, becoming the first creatures to orbit the planet and return alive, a triumph for science and humanity. Their survival was the final proof the world needed that human spaceflight was possible. The Soviet space program celebrated and the dogs became instant heroes. Belka and Strelka's fame spread far beyond the Soviet Union. They became international celebrities, even sparking a gesture of goodwill when one of Strelka's puppies, Pushinka, was gifted to the Kennedy family in the United States. Their successful mission was the green light for Yuri Gagarin's historic flight just months later, paving the way for humans to venture into the unknown. Belka and Strelka were more than just test subjects. They were pioneers, the final rehearsal for humanity's leap into space, and a symbol of courage and curiosity. Their journey proved that a safe round trip to space was possible, inspiring confidence in the possibility of human exploration beyond our planet. Thanks to their bravery, the path was cleared for the first human in space, forever changing the course of history. Today, Belka and Strelka's legacy endures as a story of hope, achievement, and the unbreakable bond between science and the living world. While superpowers raced ahead, France launched its own unique space pioneer, a cat named Félicette. In 1963, Félicette was chosen for her calm demeanor and advanced vestibular system. Electrodes implanted in her brain allowed scientists to study neurological responses to weightlessness. Launched on a suborbital flight, Félicette experienced 5 minutes of microgravity before safely returning to Earth. Her mission provided the first data on how a complex nervous system adapts to space. Félicette's successful return was a milestone for France's space program. Sadly, she was euthanized for further study, a somber end to her story. For years her contribution was overlooked, but recent efforts have restored her place in history. In 2017, a statue was erected in her honor, recognizing her as the only cat to travel to space. Félicette's journey expanded our understanding of the brain in space. By the late 1960s, the moon was the new frontier. The Soviets sent 2 tortoises aboard Zond 5 to test the effects of a lunar mission on living beings. Tortoises, chosen for their resilience, joined other organisms on a week-long journey around the moon. Zond 5 became the first spacecraft to carry life around the moon and return. The tortoises witnessed the far side of the moon and an Earthrise, firsts for any living creatures. Despite a risky re-entry and splashdown in the Indian Ocean, the tortoises survived, losing only some body weight. Their journey proved that life could endure deep space and return safely. The mission was a major step toward crewed lunar flights. The Zond 5 tortoises were true deep space pioneers. Their survival reassured scientists that humans could follow. Just months later, Apollo 8 would orbit the moon, building on their success. In the 1970s, the focus shifted to long-duration missions and new scientific questions. A high school students' experiment sent 2 spiders, Arabella and Anita, to Skylab in 1973. The goal: observe how spiders spin webs in zero gravity. At first, the spiders struggled, producing chaotic webs without gravity's guidance. Remarkably, they adapted, learning to use other cues to build more organized webs. The experiment revealed the brain's ability to adapt even in radically new environments. The silk spun in space was finer, prompting further research. Though both spiders died in orbit, their experiment was a success. Arabella and Anita's journey showed the adaptability of life and the value of space as a laboratory. Even the smallest creatures can teach us profound lessons about survival and change. From fruit flies to tortoises, these animal pioneers made human spaceflight possible. Their journeys, often perilous and involuntary, provided the data and confidence needed for our own steps into the cosmos. They raised ethical questions and forced us to consider the cost of progress. As we look to Mars and beyond, their lessons continue to guide us. These unsung heroes remind us that discovery is built on courage, sacrifice, and curiosity. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Subscribe to Knowledge Panel for more incredible stories. The adventure continues, there are many more tales to tell.